Hello everyone, welcome to our webinar, Media Workflow for Students and Faculty. My name is Melanie Ciotti. I'm the Marketing Director here at SNS, and shortly I'll introduce my colleague Brian Katowski. We're glad you've tuned in to today's presentation to learn how the right technology can transform media workflow for students, faculty, and staff. At SNS, we help media production teams create amazing content faster from anywhere. And we believe that students, faculty, and staff at every educational institution should be afforded the same time-saving, workflow-boosting technologies that creative teams in other industries enjoy. SNS started out of a multi-room production studio 25 years ago, and we've been innovating shared storage workflow solutions for creative professionals ever since. Our solutions are installed across prestigious universities, K-12 school districts, and fully online learning programs all around the world. Today, we'll be talking about how your educational institution can benefit from shared storage and media asset management. My colleague, Brian Katowski, is here to tell you all about media workflow for students and faculty. Brian is a workflow engineer here at SNS. He worked as a producer, editor, and post-production supervisor in the Los Angeles area for 20 years, creating music videos, commercials, television shows, live concerts, feature films, you name it, all for a variety of corporate clients, collaborators, and high-profile artists. He also has a rich background in higher education. Teaching at schools like UCLA, Loyola Marymount University, New York Film Academy, and Columbia College Hollywood, Brian has led courses in production, screenwriting, sound recording, color correction, video editing, and more. He was featured on the cover of AV Technology magazine in 2019 for his work developing state-of-the-art post-production spaces at Loyola, which allowed over 1,000 students and 150 faculty to utilize centralized storage for classes, projects, and even theatrical screenings across multiple campuses. Brian has an MFA in film production from Loyola Marymount and a bachelor's in communication and media studies from Villanova University. At SNS, Brian pulls on these unique experiences every day to design and optimize creative workflows for our customers, and to train users on the best ways to utilize our systems and software for maximum impact in their workflow. In this webinar, Brian will cover some basics about shared storage and media asset management. He'll explain the benefits of incorporating shared storage into a workflow so students can learn using the technologies they'll likely use later on in their careers. He'll also explore how this can improve the curriculum by getting into some of the science behind the technology. Brian will discuss how shared storage technologies can enable remote workflow for your students, faculty, and staff, allowing authorized users to continue their work at home or to work 100% off campus in an online learning environment, all without opening up the entire student body to your school's VPN. Going beyond the student experience, Brian will explore how shared storage can facilitate collaboration across departments, from athletics to alumni relations, the J-School, library services, marketing, and so on. Finally, Brian will offer some guidance on navigating the nuances of the buying process so that you can move forward and invest in your workflow with confidence. Here is Brian Katowski to tell you all about media workflow for students and faculty.
Thank you, Melanie, and thank you everyone for tuning in today. Shared storage is taking a larger part in the academic process every year. Whereas it used to be largely for holding grades and enrollment information, centralized storage has now become a key component in the function of multiple programs, especially media instruction. This is true in every area of education from elementary all the way to the university level. As you well know, we always have to question how these tools either fit with or fight against our instructional designs for the program, and I'm here to tell you that shared storage complements these designs very well. Personally, my teaching philosophy has always been shaped around two key goals. Number one, students learn by doing, not by watching. And number two, students don't just learn how, they also learn why. Shared storage is absolutely key in achieving these goals. But first, let me introduce you to the product we're discussing. At its core, Evo is a high-performance shared storage server, a secure, centralized location for students and faculty to access media and projects. But that's not all. Evo comes with an award-winning software toolset known as the Evo Suite. This suite comes with three main tools: Share Browser, a media asset management system; Slingshot, an automation engine; and Nomad, a remote workflow tool. With these three pieces of software, which, to be very clear and transparent, are free no matter how many users you have, we have the ability to fully customize how we work with our shared storage. Share Browser allows us to easily search the storage, preview files, group files into bins, as well as add metadata to files using tags, comments, or custom metadata fields. This enables us to control the cataloging of this media to make things easily searchable. Whether we are adding tags for a class year, a specific sport, a genre of film, or even student names, these are all easily done with the Share Browser application. We can access Share Browser through the web for previewing files, through a desktop application for full file structure access, and also through an extension within Adobe Premiere, Final Cut Pro, or DaVinci Resolve, so that all of this work is happening within the NLE without having to jump from one program to another. Share Browser works with online and nearline servers, cloud storage, and other devices we may have in our institutions already. And it also comes with an AI connector to facilitate AI auto-tagging and a host of other features that can make teaching media and creating media much more productive and enjoyable. Slingshot enables us to work smarter, not harder. Things such as backing up files, large file transfers, transcoding jobs, proxy generation, indexing, and more can all be automated within the Slingshot application. And Nomad allows us to quickly and easily migrate items from the server to local storage in the event that someone needs to work remotely in an offline scenario. We can click a folder, bin, or even a Premiere Pro project file and pull the assets to a local hard drive as needed. Not only are these applications included, but they are fully covered in our training sessions, so you and your team will be able to use them easily to customize your workflow with the shared storage. There are many classes, multicam studio, journalism, sports, that require turnkey solutions for students to meet tight deadlines. The Evo system puts these solutions in place for you. Drop the files into the server and students can immediately begin editing and telling their stories. Also, every student in the class can be working with the same files all at the exact same time without any disruption to the server. No need to wait for someone else to finish. No need to pass hard drives back and forth. Let's say we're filming a football game in a variety of different camera formats. We can put that footage on the server after the game, and the server will set up video previews, transcode the media as necessary, and be ready for a class to work with first thing in the morning. It's that simple. Students need footage from other games earlier in the season. They can type in searches for player names, team names, etc., and immediately access the footage for their project. Maybe they need to find a particular shot that was filmed in slow motion. Metadata is also harvested from files, so things like codec, frame rate, and camera type are all searchable. All of this simplifies the process to allow them to stay creative and have the footage they need at their fingertips so they can continue learning by doing. Evo shared storage systems are already in use by many of the world's largest employers in the media industry. If you're teaching media production, then the tools and workflow methodologies your students use in the classroom should prepare them for the technology they'll encounter in their career. With Evo, your students will already have hands-on experience with the same technology being used at Disney, Google, Netflix, Facebook, and thousands of other companies. The truth of the matter is this: there is no one magic workflow. With so many variations in cameras and video formats, it's not hard to imagine that every assignment could have a different workflow, or that even every student might need to have a different workflow. But what an exciting opportunity for learning that can be. By working with students to design these workflows, instructors can now teach online editing, offline editing, and proxy editing however they wish. More importantly, we are teaching the students to look at these specific factors: acquisition codec, required bitrate, delivery format, and deadline, to construct a workflow that works for the project. Our students are now not just editing, they are also doing the work of the project setup and management instead of having that done for them or just watching an instructor do it. They are building a different type of muscle memory, and it is a very important one. They are also doing this in a collaborative environment and learning how project management, media organization, and communication can enhance or detract from the final product. Furthermore, by utilizing tools like Slingshot, they are able to learn process consolidation and automation. We can teach them to work smarter, not harder, and leverage these tools to build efficiency into their workflows with a governing mantra of the less time I spend on this, the more time I have to be creative. So by teaching these tools and these new ways of thinking, we're actually teaching them to enable themselves to have more time to realize their visions for their personal projects. We are teaching the students a methodology for work which is consistent with what they will see in the professional world. This enables teachers to go beyond teaching a piece of software. It allows them to teach a workflow, and this workflow, this path of how media is handled from acquisition through editorial and on to delivery, can be taught using centralized storage to not only give students a better picture of how things are done professionally, but also to understand why things are done this way. In allowing our students to move past the how and really dig into the whys of a particular post-production pipeline, we are better equipping them to adapt to other workflows in the future, as well as design their own as cameras and computers continue to evolve. This also opens the opportunity to teach more about the science of both image acquisition as well as media storage. Things such as RAW versus log, codecs and codec optimization, required bit rates, computer read-write speed, CPU processing, or GPU processing. Let's be honest, if these students are going to work professionally in either post-production or media production, then these are all things they will have to be evaluating at some point in their careers as they're designing a workflow. And if they can at least grasp these foundational elements of that thought process, we're teaching them how to prepare for the future. We are teaching them how to think ahead for working with 8K, 12K, 16K cameras and beyond, because those cameras will be in their future and they will have to figure out how to make that work in a multitude of editing environments. From a creative perspective, we're in a wonderful situation today. Our students have phones that they can shoot and edit films on, and having production technology at their literal fingertips allows them to start developing these creative instincts earlier. This means we have more time to teach them the thought processes behind the creative endeavor. Now we can explain to our students how the footage is transferred from the card and into the server through Share Browser, transcoded from camera raw to an optimized codec like ProRes 422 proxy using the Slingshot engine in the server, and how that is then being implemented into a proxy workflow using the Share Browser extension for the editing application. But even better, we can break down the why. We can look at the science of the raw file. We can look at the bitrate required to debayer and encode that file to a video live, as well as how much that chews on the CPU and RAM of the computer, and we can analyze why we might be seeing stuttery playback in that scenario. We can discuss how the proxy process allows us to still work with those files while minimizing the pull on the computer, and why professionals do this approach. We can excite students about learning the why, because they're not only learning how to do things potentially better, they're learning how to do new things with new technology that they may have never seen before. Imagine this. You are a student in a media class learning an NLE for the first time, as well as creating your own content. You're balancing this creative work with all of your other classwork while also trying to realize a project that is deeply personal to you. But you can only work in the computer lab during class or during free period, and you never get enough time to fully complete your film. So you complete the assignment, you get a grade, and it is never finished. This is an all too common occurrence within production classes. So how can shared storage help? With shared storage, remote workflows can be enabled to allow the student to work in the classroom and in other areas of the school, as well as from home. This allows students to create schedules for completing their work, which is not bound just to school hours or to a specific room. And with SNS Cloud VPN, you can allow authorized users to access your Evo remotely. You're not giving access to anything else on your network. It only enables access to the Evo endpoint. Now also imagine this. You're a faculty member attempting to complete some grading, and you realize that the hard drive you had downloaded all of the students' projects to is sitting in your desk in the locked school building. But instead of panicking, you simply log into the server and watch the students work remotely without ever having to download anything. You can even open their NLE project and look at the project organization and include that as part of their grading rubric. You can do this quickly and easily because all of the media and all of the project files are living in one central location for you, the instructor, to access, as well as the students. Since 2020, we have definitely seen a shift within education models. Online learning has become a prominent part of the dynamics of education and will likely continue to be. There is definitely a struggle in not just connecting a class within such an environment, but how to get everyone access to the materials and the tools needed to complete the classwork. I should note, when the pandemic hit in 2020, I led the team of 3 people in LMU's School of Film and Television who had to migrate everything from the university storage system to other cloud storage solutions, specifically Box.com and Google Drive, because the university had never planned for the need to have this level of access for their students from off campus. It took over 2 weeks of 20-hour days to get the bare minimum of footage, project files, and software for classes to continue and finish online. It was a monumental task, to say the least. Looking back, if we had an Evo and SNS Cloud VPN, that process would have been easy by comparison. The Evo system with remote connection, SNS Cloud VPN, and cloud storage options speaks directly to the needs of the modern education environment. Not only are we embracing the hybrid learning environment, but many schools, such as UCLA, are embracing the model popularized by Masterclass. Here, They're recording entire semesters worth of lectures and building a massive library so that in the future, online learners can opt to choose a specific class by a specific instructor whenever it fits into their schedule. No matter the needs of our individual institution or department, EVO provides the tools needed to continue to evolve within this changing landscape of education. Institutionally, we are always looking for ways to promote cross-department collaboration. Through a shared storage environment, we can help facilitate film students working with music students, journalism students, animation students. The sky's the limit, and they are all collaborating through the same centralized platform. But this isn't just for students. The Dean's Office can collaborate with marketing, alumni relations, events, and athletic departments to all access the same media across multiple projects and endeavors. Library services, medical recordings and trainings, legal files can all be integrated to a secure, shared pipeline within multiple administrative departments. Here's an example. Let's say student Cynthia shoots a film. She can store the footage on the server, edit from the server, and she could collaborate with a colorist, a sound mixer, composer, and graphic designer who are all referencing the same files from the server and delivering their work to her on the server. She assembles it all and then exports the master film for her faculty to grade in her class area on this central storage. After she receives her grade, that film might be held on the server along with all other films from that year. That film could then be reviewed by a festival search committee, selected and screened directly from the server, as well as be watermarked and shared with the marketing department in a news blast, then archived into a long-term database so that when Cynthia returns in 10 years as a guest speaker to current students, they can restore that film and screen it for her to discuss. That is the vision of shared storage within education. Now, let's look to the equipment we've already invested in. Cameras, multicam studios, archive systems, cloud storage, even older servers. The good news is that the EVO is fully compatible with all of that equipment and more. Students can use Adobe Premiere Pro, Photoshop, Illustrator, the entire Creative Cloud suite, or they can use Apple Final Cut Pro, Avid Media Composer, Pro Tools, DaVinci Resolve, Nuke, Blender, Edius, any number of editing applications. EVO works with them all. You can have EVO back up automatically to Amazon S3, Dropbox, Microsoft Azure, Wasabi, Backblaze, Google Cloud Platform, or other cloud storage destinations that you want to use. Does your school run on an Active Directory system? If so, link it right into the EVO for account management and ACL permissions administration. This is the beauty of the EVO system. If you already have procedures in place and you've already dedicated department funds to equipment, you're not starting over. Instead, you're enhancing the process by adding a solution that actually plays well with all of your existing equipment. Integration is easy and non-disruptive because we know how important it is to keep all of the wheels turning. When I was designing entire workflows for LMU in an entirely new facility that was being designed and built from the ground up, the amount of items needing to be considered seemed never-ending. We ended up with a new facility and new processes that did what no one else was doing at the time, but it took a lot of work to get there. As someone who's done it before, here's some advice for navigating the buying process for media technology and education. First, find technology that works for your current workflow and can adapt to future changes in that workflow. Second, storage shouldn't dictate how you can teach. Many institutions are hesitant to incorporate centralized storage into their media classes because more often than not, the makers of that storage dictate how the students have to use it. This then changes how you teach, and that is completely unacceptable. Evo allows you and your students to work in any workflow you want and change that workflow as needed without losing the primary benefits of centralized, secure, easily managed shared storage. And with the integrations and automations built into the system, it's easy to add Evo to an existing environment and continue to use a legacy NAS server as a backup destination that Evo can replicate and sync to. It doesn't have to be an all-or-nothing approach. Also, find experts who understand your specific workflow. Find a team that understands and acknowledges what you're trying to accomplish. Many storage manufacturers approach it as a one-size-fits-all, but flexibility is so essential to making sure that your class can use this storage on day one of classes without a hitch. Finding a great systems integrator to work with is key here, but also the SNS Workflow Group is a great resource for you as well. We work with you to design the optimal workflow for your faculty and students. And from workflow consultation, installation services, ongoing support, training your users, we are with you every step of the way. We want to ensure that everyone not only has a secure system, but also enjoys using it. Support is a huge factor in evaluating what system you are going to put into your institution. I can't stress this enough. As educators, we need to know that if there's ever a problem, that we can quickly and easily get in contact with an actual person, not a phone menu or an email black hole, and get things fixed. I used to have vendors that would take upwards of a month to return an email or a phone call. That is an unacceptable situation for you, the instructor, as well as the students. SNS has industry-leading support with a 99.9% satisfaction rating. The Evo system includes free lifetime support with the ability to upgrade to higher support tiers if desired. Also, nothing has to be broken for you to contact support. If you need advice or just have some questions, we are happy to consult on ways to optimize your system and how you're using it, even if it's been set up for years. Thank you, everyone, for giving me your time and attention during this webinar. As an educator myself, it's a great privilege and pleasure for me to be able to show you these tools and how they can bring so many positive opportunities to your institution. From secure, reliable storage with easily teachable workflows, to professional-level tools and software, to an easy-to-navigate buying process and a support team that is far superior to any of the competition, I can assure you that the Evo is the best option for seamless integration of centralized storage. I know we've covered a lot, so please do reach out with any questions or concerns that you have so that we can follow up with you. I'll now hand you back over to Melanie for a few final words.
Thank you, Brian. I feel like this is such a rare opportunity to combine your experiences, as a former film student, a post-production professional, and as an instructor in media education. Thank you so much for sharing all of these perspectives with us. And thank you to everyone online for joining us. I hope you're walking away with the knowledge and tools to better equip students for a future in media production, to foster collaboration among students, faculty, and staff across campuses, departments, and remote locations, and to navigate the unique buying process so that you can move forward with the best workflow that your students and faculty absolutely deserve. Thanks again for tuning in. We're excited to see what your students and faculty can do with the workflow powered by Evo.